There was no personality in it whatsoever, and I found AI to be absolutely useless in writing in any kind of voice, especially if you are funny, if you're using humor or any kind of edge. Oh my gosh, does it taint?
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Blitz Growth. Really excited today. We have an amazing guest. She has one of my favorite taglines, get paid to be you. So I think everybody can relate. And it's no surprise that Laura Belgray is a co-founder and author that specializes in copywriting and the use of storytelling to generate more engaging and action-taking by customers and readers. Today, we'll dive into how you can take your written content to the next level and also the process of turning a skill into a very successful course or book. So thank you so much for joining, Laura.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Of course. And I really like to start off with, how do you like to introduce yourself to someone who's maybe never met you before, you're meeting at a party or something? How do you sort of introduce yourself and what you do, what kind of value you provide to people? Because you do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So how do you sort of prioritize as to what your main skill set or value is?
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just start with forget that I'm at a party because I'm not going to say this at a party, but on a podcast, if I'm being introduced to an audience, who cares? I would say that I'm Laura Belgray and I have a company called Talking Shrimp and a book coming out called Tough Titties. And I'm also the co creator of a course called The Copy Cure. And I am known for copywriting in my business, but my umbrella mission is helping entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, all those people ending in preneur, make their business a total expression of their personality by finding the words and the chutzpah to do that. So they're essentially getting paid to be themselves. Because to me, that is the holy grail of work, is getting paid to be you. And so it's what I've always been all about, and I help other people do when they're all about that too.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome tagline. I absolutely love it. And I
Thank you.
think content creators can definitely relate.
Yeah.
Um, Next thing I noticed was you have so much credibility, like so many podcasts, so many features, guest posts, all that sort of stuff. And I know that takes time. How did
Yeah.
you sort of get started with building this reputation and building this brand that you have today?
It's funny. Back in like years ago, when I first met my friend Marie Forleo, she was a life coach. And for those who don't know Marie Forleo, she is founder of B School and co-founder of the Copy Cure with me. And she is one of the biggest names in the online space, especially among women. And back then she was a life coach and she asked me to give her a testimonial for her website. And when she first asked me, I was like, I don't feel comfortable with that necessarily. Like I had to turn her down because I was in the TV space. I was writing promos for TV and I felt icky about it. I didn't want someone to see me giving a testimonial to a life coach back then. This was in like the early 2000s. And then she asked me again later, and when she had a bigger business, and I was more in the online space, and I was like, you know what? Sure, of course I'll give you a testimonial. It's kind of like no one's going to see it anyway. The moral of the story is so many people who are on my list still today, after years and years, found me because I gave a testimonial to Marie Forleo. Who knew that, like, the power of giving someone a testimonial? And I recommend it to anyone who's like anyone that you've learned from, etc. Like, give them offer them a testimonial. It's a great way to be visible. And then from there, I'd say starting in around 2016, 2017. I started to recognize the importance of visibility and guest posting and being on podcasts. And I started doing that. And I pitched my first piece with the help of my friend Selena Sue, who's in publicity, to Business Insider. And I think the first one that I did was called I Make $950 an hour writing from my couch. Here are my best tips if you want to work from home. And that got shared hugely. Everyone was forwarded it by their uncle who was like, you want to make money, here you go. And I got tons of opt-ins to my list, and I was hooked. I was like, oh, this is the way to do it. And it got shared, all over the place by my friends, and people found me through that. And I started to realize that the way to be not just credible, but found, was to be more visible. And so I started guest posting more in magazines and made a real habit of it, and pitching myself to podcasts and then they would start to find me. They would say, oh, Laura Belgray is the person to have on your podcast for a while. So the more you do it, the more it comes to you, and it just snowballs into more success. But it's it's like one of the, I'd say, like the three things that I recommend to anybody who wants to grow their business and get paid to be themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do feel like in your space specifically, copywriting, that credibility really sets you apart from a lot of other people, which is really impressive. If you're listening and you're at a computer, go take a look at the website talkingshrimp.com. But the other thing I was going to say is you've done a really good job at creating multiple things to offer readers or potential customers. How do you sort of break down your revenue streams that you've been able to generate from your skill set? So I know you've got the course and you do some consulting. What's the breakdown of your revenue and the different things that you do? And then, maybe the time involved in each one.
Yeah. So the Copy Cure with Marie Forleo, that brings in a lot of my money, and I sort of don't count it. I feel like that's it's gravy. It's amazing gravy. I mean, the gravy is more than the meat often, but I just don't like to, because I'm not in control of it. Like, who knows, one day, Marie could say, you know what? I don't feel like it anymore. I don't think she would, but she could. So I don't like to count it as as a big part of my revenues. So the rest of it is, I have mini courses that sell throughout the year. They are evergreen. I don't have a proper funnel set up, but they are, I do sell them through a tripwire. So when people opt into my website, they get a thank you page with a timer of like 10 or 20 minutes. I forget what it is now. And they can buy my 60-minute makeovers copywriting mini course for half price, or my about page builder. So those generate some nice pocket change, not a huge chunk of my revenue, but ongoing, over the course of the years, they've brought in several $100,000. And then I have my main courses that I've created over the years, which are Inbox Hero and then Launch Hero. Inbox Hero is really like my flagship course of my own. And that I launch a couple of times a year. And then Launch Hero, I launch once a year, which is an all launch spinoff of Inbox Hero. It's like all launch emails and then all launch sequences version of that. And I also just created a new product called Welcome Hero, launched it recently, which I'm might put on my site, might have on Evergreen, haven't decided yet. So, that is a big chunk of it. And then I have Shrimp Club, which is my mastermind. It's about 20 people. I take up to 20 people, and it's a, it's a 5-figure investment. So that's probably the largest piece of my revenue on its own. And I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting anything else. Stray things here and there, a speaking gig, this and that, but I don't count those things as big revenue streams. And I'm sorry, affiliate revenue, affiliate. So I've been an affiliate for some big courses for many years now. One of which was my friend Selena Sue's Impacting Millions, and she's retired that program, so I won't have that anymore. But I always launch B School when I'm always an affiliate. I've been an affiliate for B School, and that was my gateway drug into affiliate stuff. And that has made me up to 6 figures. Doesn't regularly, but 6 figures for that. And then also for Amy Porterfield's DCA, Digital Course Academy. And I'm forgetting what else. Those are the big tent poles, if you will, of my affiliate stuff.
Wow. So just a few things.
Yeah, just a few things.
No, it's really impressive. And then which ones do you start with? So for those people who are kind of looking to kind of get started in maybe they have a skill set, whether it's writing, video production, video editing, or all sorts of skills that I know people are creating content around now. But I know you probably didn't start with all of that, and it takes time to build up to like a mastermind or something like that.
Yeah.
Where did you kind of start when you first made your first few dollars online and you realized like, oh, actually, I can sell my skill set to many versus like an hourly rate of consulting?
Yeah. I mean, because where I did start was with hourly stuff, and it was a good gig. I mean, it made me decent money. It was a six-figure, multiple six-figure revenue stream, with one-on-one clients, and I did work with them by the hour, and that was a great way for me to work. We would work in real time on their stuff in a Google Doc over, Zoom or the phone or Skype back in the day, and I go for like I aspire to a hashtag no homework life. So that was the way for me to do copywriting, was to work with them in real time and never have homework, where like, oh, I owe you these deliverables. And that worked for a good long time. But then I started to feel like, oh, I just want my calendar to be free of appointments. That's not entirely possible, but I wanted to take the client appointments off of there. And I knew that the only way to do that was to sell more. I was already selling my mini courses, through my emails. And the first one I ever, actually, the first thing that I ever sold that gave me a taste of that, like stranger buying from me at when I'm not there on the internet, was I turned a blog post that got a ton of accidental, like not intentional hits that I was going for, turned it into a gated content. It was called The Guide to Passive Aggressive Speak or something like that. And it was just like a translation of all these different passive aggressive things people would say. It had nothing to do with copywriting or anything. And so people Googled passive aggressive all the time and would come over to my site and find it. And it's like, so many people comment on this, so many people find it. It's the thing I'm most searched for. I'm going to turn it into a $10 product, and with no refunds. I'm like, if that's passive aggressive, then perfect. And so I got a few sales of that, and getting a sale or two of that. And that I put that up on Gumroad, which is a very easy way to sell things, especially if it's a PDF. So that was on Gumroad, and that gave me my first taste of like, oh my gosh, somebody can find you and then buy something from you without even meeting you, and it doesn't even have to be that good. And so that's when I started creating these mini courses. My 60-minute makeovers was originally a freebie. I offered it as like a gift in this pop-up that we did for the Copy Cure in Facebook. I was like, I've got a gift for you. It's these befores and afters of client work that I'd done. So it was good to have this client work under my belt because I was able to turn it into a product. Just use these befores and afters, and people were like, oh, this is so good, I would pay for this. And I said, oh, you don't say. Okay, I'm going to turn this into a paid product. And I did, and started selling that also on Gumroad. And I like created a sales page for it, offered it to my list, and then I added a couple of other things to that arsenal. And it was amazing to me. It's like, oh, if I offer a bundle, like do a sale of a bundle of these, which I did when Gumroad had a like no fee day for their creators. Like, oh, I'm going to offer a bundle for this day. And it's like, holy crap, I just made $12,000. It was insane to me. And so that was my first real taste. And I was like, I can do more of this. And I'll tell you one secret that I discovered, which was, so I started working with a coach, business coach, Ron Reich, and he asked me, wave a magic wand over your business, what would change? What would you have happen? And I said, well, if everybody who came through my virtual door bought 60-minute makeovers or one of my mini products, I'd be rich. And he was like, okay, you sell these in email, correct? And I said, yes. He said, well, then you want to sell more of them. I recommend you write more emails. And he advised me to step up my emails from once a week. I was emailing on Wednesdays to Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And he said, Mondays and Wednesdays will be the quote unquote pure value emails. And then Friday will be the pure sell. And I gave that a try for a month, and I saw the revenue double from those mini courses. So, and then it continued to grow. It more than doubled. And so the secret there is the more you email, the more you sell. People say, oh, no, I want to, I don't want to bother people. They'll get tired of the offer, et cetera, et cetera. But if you keep offering it, people will buy it. More people.
Yeah. So I take it most of the sales that you generated were promoted via email,
Yeah.
and you built that email list by publishing blog posts and doing all that sort of stuff. Is that your kind of setup that you have?
Yes, my SEO is terrible, and it's something that I'm looking to improve. So my list would build a lot better and faster if I had better SEO on some of my most popular posts. For instance, I have one called, it's emails that sell. That's the slug, and it's like, screw Bit. I wrote it when Bitcoin was first taking off, and like in a big way. And so it was called Screw Bitcoin, Invest in Email Instead. And here are 21 ways to do it better. And if I had better SEO on that post, I mean, it's by far my most visited post. There's gated content there. I offer my not my guide to non-sucky subject lines, which is very popular. And so more SEO would get a lot more hits to my list. I also promote my list through Instagram and other social avenues, but it's mostly Instagram. And then that visibility that we were talking about. So when I do a publicity blitz, I get a lot of opt-ins, but I have not been as good as I should be in the past few years about list building. It's been a bit of a slog. Like my list used to go like up like this, and now it's like, so I need more opt-ins.
Yeah. Well, the bigger it gets, the harder it is to keeping up that trajectory.
Yeah, it's true. I'm not
At the
sure
start,
why. Mathematically, that doesn't really make sense, but for some reason, it's true.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, it is tough to have hit after hit. I think the other thing is, we need a few more Bitcoin topics to drop.
Yes, exactly. Well, I was gonna change the headline, and then Bitcoin tanked entirely, and then it was relevant again. So
No, that is interesting, and I think any content creator, written, video, whatever it may be, like really playing into the trends is where we see a lot of people have success. So, whether it's social media followers, whether it's website traffic, email list growth, the people who can tie in their content with a relevant trend seem to benefit a lot from that. That's awesome. And then I can't avoid this topic, but what's your thought process or your opinion on the impact of, artificial intelligence on copywriting and all that sort of stuff over the next few years? I know it's kind of popular and then unpopular with some, and it's kind of, some people like it's the end of the world. Other people are like, no, it's going to improve the world. What's your stance on it?
I think the truth is both those things. No, I don't think it's the end of the world at all especially not for copywriters. It's the end of the world for mediocre copywriters, people who don't have a voice, who have nothing special to them in their writing skills, because AI can do that. AI can it could rewrite that post for me that I was just talking about with better SEO. And I tried that, and it took all the fun out of it. It made it not fun to read. And so I think that somebody might find it and say, okay, these are good tips, but no way they would look me up and keep browsing through all my content and say, oh, I want to connect with this person. I want to learn from this person. What else, what does she have to offer? What is she selling? There was no personality in it whatsoever. And I found AI to be absolutely useless in writing in any kind of voice, especially if you are funny, if you're using humor or any kind of edge. Oh my gosh, does it tank when it like lead balloon time? When I ask it to be funny, it'll say, ladies and gentlemen, presenting copy so hilarious you'll think you're in an arena at a stand-up concert. Like it just, You ask it to be funny, and it talks about the comedy business. It has no idea what is funny. It just doesn't understand. I have seen someone say, like, "Can you make it fun?" And they'll say, "You'll have a hoot and a holler while you learn the art of publicity." No. So I don't think anyone who has any kind of personality or voice and brings that to their copywriting is in any sort of danger.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the general feedback we seem to be getting from all the different people that we ask this question to is that it's great for kind of like structure and technical side of things, but it's not great at capturing humans' attention. So
No.
a lot of people ask also if it impacts, the SEO side that you're talking about, and it's fine for getting the content ranked on the first page, but then as soon as someone gets to the website, they don't want to read it because it's like
Yeah.
boring, as you said, no personality, there's no human interaction behind it to engage people, so it quickly
Right.
drops off. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think the balance is the key.
I agree.
Awesome. Fantastic. And then I know you're coming out with a book.
Yes.
So walk us through the thought process of deciding to write a book. And then, why did you do it? What was the process of doing it? How long did it take? Because I know writing a book is a huge feat for a lot of people. So
Yeah.
talk us through the book, what it's about, why you wrote it, and yeah, give us a bit of background on the process of launching one.
Yeah, it is. Well, you can see it. I don't know if this is going to be on video, but you can see it right behind me. It's called Tough Titties on Living Your Best Life When You're the Effing Worst. And the title is something that I kind of found myself saying, like when I didn't know what my book was going to be. I was writing a book of stories, of my personal stories that I always wanted to write. And I found myself saying something that I've been saying since I was 12, because I am still 12, and it's tough titties. And to me, I was like, oh, that's the name of the book. This is sort of the ultimate non-apology, sorry, not sorry, for not doing things the way you want me to do them, not abiding the supposed tos in life. I have lived a not very supposed to life, and my path to success professionally and personally has not been the straight one, the straight and narrow. And I say all that because this is not the book that I am supposed to write in my business. It's the book I've always wanted to write and have talked about writing for years and years, like a book of it's a very personal book. It's a coming of age memoir and essays of, a misfit growing up in 80s, 90s New York and late blooming into an unusual life and career. And the book that everyone expects me to write in this online space is a copywriting book or a marketing book or a personal development book, something that's going to go in the how-to advice, self-help, section of the bookstore, and something that has bullet points and sidebars and takeaways at the end of each chapter, like your next steps, or take out your journal, ask yourself, how are my titties tough? I was not going to do a book like that. I refused. It would be a smart business move, and it would have been way easier to sell because publishers would tell me, first agents told me, and then publishers said, you don't really get to write a memoir or a book of essays unless you're super famous. If you are a celebrity, if you're like a household name, if you are, Prince Harry, you can write a memoir. If you're Chelsea Handler, you can write a memoir. If you're Laura Belgray, good luck. And one of them actually said, "I hope you prove me wrong." And then I hope I do too. I have sold the book, I have a book deal. It's being published by Hachette, and we'll see on June 13th how it does and after.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll do really well. I think, yeah, your taglines and I think your humor is great. So
Thank you.
I think those who are looking for entertainment will be drawn to it.
Yes,
Those who are
and you know
maybe looking
what?
for a
I'm just
checklist,
gonna
maybe
add
not.
this. I'm gonna put in a plug for it because even though I refused to do a business book or a personal development book, I have been told that it is a stealth self-help book, that people get so much out of it and then it actually helps them. And I've also been told by another early reader who had me on his podcast that every entrepreneur should read this book. So there you go. I think it checks all the boxes after all. but not that I meant to.
Nice. And then, so a lot of content creators will have the choice of self-publishing or going with a publisher.
Hmm.
What's your thought process on that and the pros and cons?
Yeah, well, if you self-publish, you have full control over the timeline of it. If you are a big procrastinator and tend not to finish things, I don't recommend that because then you will have no whip cracking over you and you will probably drop it. There was a good year where I was behind on this and almost considered like giving back my advance because I was so miserable. Like it was just seemed so overwhelming and hard. So I needed that deadline. But if you're somebody who sticks to it and feel like you are going to write that book on your like fueled by your own motivation, self-publishing might be a way to go because then you don't have to get an agent. You don't have to shop it to publishers. You get all the money, all the revenue from the book. On the other hand, you don't have the distribution that you would with the publisher or the same kind of prestige. There is a prestige factor there that, like, purely out of vanity and my own lifelong ambition, I really wanted. I wanted to be, I was like, I want to be a published author, not a self published author. That's out of snobbery. Um, and, the cons of a publisher is, first of all, they're in control of the end product. They tell you, they'll tell you when it's good enough. They'll tell you what you can have in the book and what you can't, even though it's your book. Um, and yeah, there's a lot of waiting. You're on their timeline. Trying to think of other, and then you only get a small portion in royalties of every book sold. And what people say is that almost no authors sell out their advance. So if you don't sell out your advance, if you don't sell enough copies to cover the advance, you never see royalties. So it's not a lucrative thing unless you get offered a huge advance. It is not a money-making thing. And the way it can make money, well, first of all, if you write a business book, if there's some sort of back end, this is the part that I skipped, that I decided to forego, even though it would be a smart business move. You can say, come to all through the book, you can say, come over to, I could say talkingshrimp.com. Use the QR code in the back to come take the quiz on my website and then opt in and you'll get this freebie. It's a great driver to your business. It can be if you write a business book, whether it's published or self-published. Let's see, did I answer the question right? You feel like I covered the pros and cons?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting seeing both sides, and it really depends on the person, like most answers in life. It depends
Yeah.
on your specific circumstance. But if you were to do it again, would you go the publisher route or would you go the self-publishing now that you've kind of been through the whole experience?
I think I would go through the publisher route unless I decided to write a marketing book or a personal development book or something that was like basically a big fat business card for my business. And especially if I wanted to get it out there fast. If you want to get something out there fast, then you want to go self-publishing. I mean, I got my book deal in 2020 and now it's 2023 and it's coming out. So almost 3 years. That's part of that is on me because I got a deadline extension by like half a year. So the soonest this could have come out was half a year ago, was in the fall, was like 2 years after I got the book deal. And,
Yeah.
and there was the whole process of shopping for the book deal. It started with writing a proposal and then looking for an agent and then the agent looking for a publisher. So that was at least half a year. So
Okay.
it's a long
Interesting.
process.
Yeah, super interesting for the people who are contemplating publishing a book.
Yeah,
I think that's great information to know because you don't necessarily know what it's like, I feel, until you're in it.
right.
There's not too many people talking about the process of writing the book. It's more so the end result is what's talked about.
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, Laura, really appreciate the info that you shared today. Super valuable, and love everything that you're doing. If any of the listeners want to come and find out more, where should we head to? Where should we check out what your latest projects are?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So come over to talkingshrimp.com, go down the rabbit hole, browse around. There are freebies there if you are into email or trying to master email marketing, which is a very powerful thing for your business. You'll want to get the my guide to non-sucky subject lines, and that is at talkingshrimp.com/subject lines. If you're interested in the book, please come over to toughtittiesbook.com, or you can find it at talkingshrimp.com/book. And that's where you can pre-order the book. Or if you're listening to this after it comes out, then you can order the book. But if you if you order before June 13th, you're going to get bonuses, including the intro chapter in your inbox. But also, if you buy 2 books, you will get the replay. If you're interested in writing a book and publishing a book, you will get the replay of this call that I did. It was a behind the scenes / behind the titties call, all about the process of writing the book, of getting the book deal, of finding an agent, getting the book deal, starting to market the book, and all the crying and fetal position wailing in between. So that's for 2 books, and people love it. This call was hugely popular and very revealing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Behind the scenes. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Laura, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. We'll link out to all of this in the show notes and everything. And then for everybody listening, please let us know if you enjoyed this episode, any questions you might have, and what you love, so we can keep bringing you amazing content. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. This was a pleasure.
Hey guys, we put a bunch of effort into making great content for this YouTube channel, so please hit subscribe, leave us a comment, hit like, and tell a few friends about it.